What up, what up, what up? Back at it again. Real Fans Podcast. We're back here, episode 44. I'm Gabe. That's Julian. Say what's up, Julian.
What's up? What's up?
Yo, so we're going to come heavy. JoJo couldn't be here this weekend, but we're going to do heavy NFL because I feel like we're the utmost experts on this Real Fans Podcast of all the staff members that we have. I feel like you and I, we're the highest ranking members in football, but we'll probably have JoJo on next week if we can. We'll talk more NBA, baseball stuff. Right now, we're talking NFL. Yeah, March Madness stuff. That's also going on, Sweet 16. But we're going to talk NFL heavy today. Just a lot of transactions going on in free agency. Julian, I'll start off with you. I guess, there was a lot of news past couple of days. What's the biggest thing that came to your mind?
I just want to start off this is one of the craziest off seasons I've probably ever experienced as an NFL fan. Ever. I can't think of another moment. Probably the moment when Peyton left, but that was only one. That was only one huge transaction. That was such a big deal. This is so many moves and so many things happening. I honestly don't know which one was crazier. To be honest with you, I feel like every time I thought one was going to be crazier, I feel like there was another one right there, right after it, because the Russell Wilson thing shocked me. Deshaun Watson shocked me. Matt Ryan shocked me. Just recently, yesterday, Tyreek, everything. But let's start off with the three teams that everybody kind of deems has had the biggest quote unquote one free agency. We'll see when season starts if it actually happens or not. But I think the three teams that made the biggest moves is the Dolphins, Jags, and Chargers. That's my list. Funny enough, two of them are our teams. So we'll start off with the Dolphins. They made the most recent, absurd, crazy move, which happened yesterday afternoon. Announced Tyreek Hill is getting sent to the Miami Dolphins after trade extension stalled with Kansas City. And Kansas City got a haul. I'll tell you what, Kansas City did. I will not say that they lost this in this trade. Obviously, we'll see when trades end up. You find out who ends up being the winner and loser years down the road. But Kansas City got a huge haul for him. Dolphins are going all in on to Mike McDaniel. Is showing that he is our guy. We're going to see what happens. Seems honestly the perfect coach to have with Tua because he kind of has a similar kind of style as Garoppolo. And man, the Dolphins, let me just read off real quick. Gabe, I know, was probably shitting himself yesterday when he saw Tyreek Hill get signed. But we got Bridgewater, Edmonds, Mostert, a fullback in gold, Tyreek Hill, Trent Sherford, Preston Williams, Cedric Wilson, Mike Gesicki, franchise tagged, Durham Smith re-signed, Terran Armstead, huge signing, best left tackle out in the market. Signed another offensive guard, Connor Williams, re-signed Emmanuel Ogba, and then re-signed all 3-year linebackers, Duke Riley, Eldon Roberts, Brandon Charlotte. How you feeling, Gabe? Should be feeling pretty damn good, I would imagine, right?
Well, I feel all right. Like I said, I've said before, I don't usually get hyped over transactions. Transactions are nice, but I want to see actual football because we've already seen.
Gabe, come on, man. This is huge. I don't remember the Dolphins ever doing some shit like this.
Well, yeah. It's been a while since they've been in the news for something other than, their head coach doing coke lines, sending a weird video to a stripper in Las Vegas. It's fine. Yeah, you know what? They're making big moves, and like I've said for the past while, it seems like they invested in Tua, and they want to invest in Tua, and they're showing it through actions, right? It's not just words. They're not saying, "Oh, we support our guy," or whatever. Because it got a little weird at the last half of the season with Flores, but it seems they're all in on Tua. Okay, well, they've been making moves. They signed Albert Wilson, Albert Wilson was supposed to be our Tyreek Hill for cheap, right? He was supposed to be the cheap version, the fast, speedy guy that can go downfield. Fuller was injured, all last season, but Fuller was supposed to be a deep threat as well. And now you see they're making moves for Tyreek Hill. So offensively,
real quick, was Fuller a 1-year deal? Was that he's out now, or was
I don't think so.
Deal?
I gotta double check that. Let me double check that. Let me see the Fuller deal. Just to continue, yeah, man. Offensively, they're all in. I feel like it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I think I said a couple podcasts before when we were talking about the when they when they signed Mike McDaniel, the head coach. I am interested to see what is the face of the team now. Is it going to be Tua heavy? Is it going to be run heavy? Because it seems like Mike McDaniel he takes these guys like Debo Samuel and turns into running backs. He has these schemes where they're going to run first. Like San Francisco run first team is what I thought of. And then obviously Debo is talented guy who can uh, catch balls for you and is really fast, good with the ball in his hands. So I wonder. That's why I don't want to get too hyped because I don't know the identity of this team. Like, what are the schemes going to
How many more years does Parker have? Or was he?
Dude, he's got to be at the end. He's got to be on the end stick of his contract.
I didn't realize how long he was signed for that team. I thought he would have been coming up on something. Haven't really been keeping up with it. But yeah, man, fully revamped offense. Like you guys went all out. Like I'm at the point where it's like this is make or break for Tua. If he can't perform with this team next year, and he showed flashes of he was getting better last year. And now he's in a system that should cater to him. He's going to have an offensive minded coach who's dealt with a similar style of quarterback. He's gotten way more weapons. You know what we were saying last year? I mean, one of the biggest things that hindered Tua is not really having a run game. I mean, you had what's his name? He was so inconsistent, but now you're signing Chase Edmonds and Raheem Moser, which if Raheem is healthy, he is a really good running back. His biggest issue is he couldn't stay healthy in San Francisco. And that's another thing we're seeing too with Mike McDaniels. He's bringing a lot of guys that were like once with them. I mean, like I said, with Moser and then Trent Sherfield, and then obviously people within the division like an Edmonds. You're adding a lot of speed on that team now. You guys re-signed Preston Williams. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is a big deal. Cedric Wilson's a solid guy. You still have Waddle on the team. You still have, we believe, Parker. Like that's a really deep wide receiver room. Really deep wide receiver room.
Just to go back, because I looked at the back of the contract. Devontae Parker had a four-year, $30 million deal, and I believe he's in his third year of his 4-year deal. So
okay.
This year, and also Fuller was a 1-year contract, 1 year, $10 million. So he's right now he's an unrestricted free agent, but he was hurt all season. So that's just to go back.
That's his whole career. But yeah, dude. I mean, I think this is also like I feel like you can look at this as like a Parker like signing as well, because like I was never thought he was a number one guy. He clearly wasn't. When he was put in those roles as a number one receiver, he couldn't necessarily deliver on a consistent basis. Now he's going to get freed up by having all these other weapons. You might see a better Parker than you have been before. So, yeah, man, it looks really good. Obviously, and then also we haven't even gone over the offensive line help. The Teron Armstead, one of the best tackles in the league, huge upgrade. Obviously, then you also get a Connor Williams from Dallas, big upgrade in the middle. Like, it looks really, really good for Miami right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball, which was your biggest hindering last year, because the defense had moments where it's a pretty decent defense. And you're re-signing all your guys, which is great. Great to keep all 4 of those guys. And man, like, yeah, and then franchise tag Gesicki, it's looking really good. And
so,
it's putting in a situation, if Tua doesn't perform and he ends up showing not to be the dude, with the way the NFL is being, like, it seems like you could get another big veteran in there if he doesn't end up working out, and you still have all these guys lined up for a few years. If Tua doesn't work out, you could still.
That's what I was saying about the game scheme, because it could take pressure. If they're going to be a run first team, if they're going to be a run heavy team, that's going to take pressure off Tua. Tua's not going to need to, have to throw downfield. Like there's always parts. There was like this one, 30, 40 yard pass downfield. It's pretty exceptional. Why can't he do that like in 5 drives? Why can't you do that like, 5 times and a half? Or why does it have to be one play in the second half, when you guys are down or you guys are fighting? So if the identity of the team is going to be a run first team, then obviously it's going to take pressure off Tua. That Tua's not going to need to be the man, the guy, like they did with fucking Jimmy Garoppolo. That's my biggest gripe with Jimmy Garoppolo is they hit Jimmy Garoppolo passing. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy Garoppolo was decent, and then you see it in games and tight games how he implodes on himself.
Here's what I will see. This team doesn't give me the vibe that it's going to be run first. The fact that they went through all that effort to get Tyreek Hill, and to get all these other weapons does not give me the idea of a run first team. But what I do see is possibly seeing a lot of intermediate short routes and relying on these guys with speed that once you get them open on these 10-yard routes, that they can bust away and break open. That's what I can envision this offense being, because like I said, I just can't picture Tua just slinging it. Like, I just don't think he has it in him, but I can picture him just managing the game. Like I said, throwing it deep when every now and then, but the game's mostly going to be run on short, intermediate passing routes and running the ball effectively and just utilizing the speed to hit those gaps, because this team is fast, and I think they're going to rely on that. So I don't see it being run first. It doesn't give me run first vibes for sure.
And I feel we don't really have a lot of big target. Tyreek Hill's not a big guy. Our biggest, like I said, I still think offensively our best option is still Gasecki. One year, exclusive rights, whatever. Still think he's our best option, best weapon. We shall see. I do want to see the duo. I think is definitely an improvement. But Julie, as a Jaguars fan, would you have traded?
Oh, we're losing Gabe.
A third and a fourth or something. A third.
Re-say that? Yeah. What was that again?
I'm one bar. All right. No, I was gonna say, as a Jags fan, do you think that trade is a lot?
The Tyreek Hill trade?
So much. As far as the amount of picks, what percent? I understand if you send a first draft, first round draft pick, and then a couple of them, but they sent a first and a second for next year. So there's obviously, in my eyes, thing in the draft that they want to pick Tyreek Hill because they see something that they want to pick up. Because offensively, if you look at their roster, I mean, they're going to have Juju Smith-Schuster, which is their big signing, a huge signing for them, which I think is a good pickup. Mecole Hardman, who's always injured. I mean, he plays well. He had moments, especially last year, but he's always injured. That guy, I try to pick that guy up in fantasy. That guy is never on the field. And they're going to have Josh Gordon as well. Josh Gordon finally being, taken off from whatever the exempt list from the commissioner's exempt list. So, I mean, as far as the amount of trades, so just the value, do you think the trade, like did the Dolphins acquiring Tyreek Hill, or did the Chiefs win getting all those picks and, losing probably their premier, but not their premier because Kelsey's their best receiver, but a top receiver for them, for Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't envision Kansas City making it deep in the playoffs next year. I mean, I might be wrong. They always find a way to win some way or another, but I can't envision it. I feel like they didn't really do much. And let me see what they did real quick. I just feel like they just didn't, like, yeah, you had Corey Coleman and then you had Juju Smith, but like, you didn't do a whole lot in the defense side of the ball. It seems like they're not re-signing Tyrann Mathieu. Juju Smith and Corey Coleman, they're supplementary guys. I guess if they kind of play a different offense, so I guess Kelsey's going to be like your number one threat. So they're not going to really have a true number one receiver, which I guess you could say that they never really did because Tyreek Hill's a slot guy. But I don't know. I just can't envision the Chiefs doing that well. Miami has the capital to give it away. So Miami's not really losing anything. And that's what made last year's draft so important, was of them trading back, which I was saying that they should, because now you're starting to see the dividends of that. You got Waddle. You got the same guy that you would have probably got at the third round anyways. And now you're able to capitalize on all those picks you got last year to get somebody like Tyreek Hill. Like, that was huge. You would consider that a draft pick. And then you're only giving up the 29th pick. So
it's like a 29th and a 50th.
Necessarily so they're not even losing their true first round pick. This is big brain.
Do you think it's worth
his career? Which
I know it's a big move. It's a big move, and you can tell offensively. Like I said, they're making moves. They're trying to win. They're trying to compete because right now the top dog in the division are the Bills, and maybe we'll talk about them later. I think it's a big move, but I wonder, how much future did you give away? I understand first first round pick, like maybe two picks, first and second, but they gave two first, second, fourth, fifth. I'm like, damn, they are not. They must not see any value in the draft.
I think the Dolphins are in a situation where they weren't too bad where they needed to rebuild. They just needed to upgrade what they had. Their defense was there. They just needed a big overhaul in the offense. And you have a guy who's entering his third year. I'm okay with them getting rid of the picks because you're in a situation where you're kind of like you got to start winning now. You were 10-6, and then you ended the season 8-9. You're on that fringe playoff list. You got to make the playoffs. Like, you're not necessarily in position to rebuild where it's like the team is just bad. You need to get rid of everybody. You still have a good base and structure there. You just need to supplement it. And I think, Los Angeles kind of prove if you need it, you need to go after it. I don't think the Dolphins were necessarily in a situation to rebuild that. And so I'm okay with them giving it away. And then as for the Chiefs, I mean, the wide receiver draft class this year is super, super deep. So they can get, I think they can find a couple pieces to help, fix the glaring hole that Tyreek Hill left behind. But I think it's good for both teams. I really do. And I'm okay with the Dolphins getting rid of it because at the end of the day, who's to say those picks would end up turning into anything? For all we know, those picks could end up being a bust. And I think you take the proven guy, especially in the situation your team is now, a team that's ready to win, a team that should be a playoff team next year, in a division that's really strong with New England and Buffalo, and seems to be a Jets. Seems like they might be on the rise because they made big splashes. But yeah, man. I think it'd be a good time to be a Dolphins fan. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, so as far as big splash, Tyreek Hill, am I happy? I'm like, I would do.
And then, I mean, also Armstead, like the offensive line is greatly improved.
That's what I wanted to say was like I feel like stuff besides Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill nationally, like
in the running game.
That's what makes
huge
the Dolphins. Yeah, Dolphins nationally relevant is Tyreek Hill. Everybody knows because everybody in their fantasy kill. But I feel like their line, pickup that tells you, whatever you signed that 4-year deal, they're trying to protect Tua. Emmanuel Ogba, player that's excellent. He's very good line. So I think those are good pickups. Thing is, they linebackers to 1-year deals. So I find that interesting. I think that signals that McDaniel is probably looking at that defense and and he's putting guys on 1-year deal. He's like this is like make it or break it. Prove yourself. So those I think more interesting to me than Tyreek.
We're losing game again.
But I want to see games. I want to see the scheme. I want to see.
All right, you're back now.
How am I doing? Am I doing all right?
Yeah, you're doing good.
So let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Talking about the Dolphins. Let's talk about the Jaguars. Their biggest acquisition, kind of the moves that they're making in Jayville.
Yeah. So Trent Baalke and the Jags and Doug Peterson, they opened up Shah Khan's checkbook and they just started handing out fucking blank checks because they needed to. And I feel this is the most hyped I've been about a free agency class since the 2017 offseason, which, if you guys know, 2017 ended up being the year we made to the AFC Championship. Not saying that we'll do that again. I think that team had a better base, but we went out and made acquisitions that really needed to happen. We had the second most cap space in the league, right behind the Dolphins, and I'm glad we used it. So our biggest signings were we had Christian Kirk. Obviously, that was a big talking point, which I'm so tired. Like, I'm gonna go over the list and I'll go back to that. So yeah, Christian Kirk signed Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, franchise tagged Cam Robinson, our offensive tackle, signed Brandon Sheriff, one of the best guards in the league, gave him a huge deal, 3-year, $50 million. Re-signed our center. We picked up a run stuffing D tackle from the Jets, who was actually pretty good. We signed the leading tackler in the NFL last year for the Falcons, Foye Olukun. I can't say his name, but then signed Darius Williams and then re-signed a cornerback to play slot. So I think, man, we made some huge moves that needed to be done. We needed to shore up that offensive line. So Brandon Sheriff's probably my favorite signing. I love that signing. He's a 5-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler left right guard. So that was a huge glaring hole in our team. We still have some work to do on the line, but that was a huge pickup. I'm super happy about that. And then just revamping the wide receiver room, getting Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Zay Jones, I did think maybe he got a little too much, but you know what? We have the money. Who cares? At the end of the day, the way these deals are structured, and that's the thing, people see these deals and they don't realize, and Gabe, this is just funny money. Like people see these and like freak out, like, oh my God, you pay him too much. But like, bro, this shit's funny money. Like a lot of these deals have incentives and all kinds of different things that may never get reached.
Not everything in the NFL is guaranteed.
Yeah. The thing you got to look at is the guaranteed money. So he has a max value. Christian Kirk has a max value of $84 million for 4 years, but he's only guaranteed $37 million guaranteed. And if people actually looked at the contract, which everybody was saying like, oh, this actually was like big brain moves by Trent Baalke. He signed a $20 million signing bonus. And that's like the new move nowadays is signing bonuses because, I mean, signing bonuses don't count against the cap. That's just like, here's money for signing with us. Now we don't have to pay you as much on the salary because he got a $20 million signing bonus and he's only going to be a 1.5 mil cap hit this year. So he's only going to get paid $1.5 million. Barely nothing against the cap. That's barely nothing. Next year he's going to get $14 million cap hit. But then with the way he's structured, after 2 years, there's no more dead cap and you could cut him, no problems. So it's like everybody's freaking out, but it's like he's literally getting paid 1.5 this year. And then next year he's getting paid 14. And then after that, if it doesn't work out, if he ends up not being good, you can cut him and it's no effect to the cap. So it's like, I was kind of surprised by how well Trent Baalke structured these things. Evan Ingram was a good deal. Evan Ingram's a good tight end. He just has butterfingers. And he was a Pro Bowler for the Giants. But I think he can, Drops is he just had a bad season. I mean, who knows? It's at the end of the day, it's a 1-year deal. If it don't work out, don't work out. He's going to be a partner alongside our other tight end who's pretty good last year, Dan Arnold. So I'm glad to see probably start running some more 2 tight end sets. But and then shored up the defense. Our defense is looking really good right now. I'm feeling really good about our secondary. Secondary looks really deep. Our linebackers look good, and then bringing in that D tackle looks great. And then at the end of all of it, it seems like the Jags are going to probably draft Aiden Hutchinson number 1 overall. That's kind of what everything's leading up to be, all these signings and everything. I was thinking maybe they sign offensive tackle, that Evan Neal guy out of Alabama, but with Cam Robinson getting the franchise tag, I mean, they still could and just move him to right, but everything lines up to see like they're taking Aiden Hutchinson, which I am not upset with at all. Pairing him alongside Josh Allen on the other side of the line, that's going to be a really good defensive line. And our defense, I feel really good about. And our wide receiver room, I think, could still use a little bit of work. And same thing with the offensive line. But so far, I'm feeling pretty good, man. I think we should be a lot better team. I think there's still a little bit of things that we can improve on, but I feel good.
So I mean, how do you feel?
Gabe, you're cutting out again, man.
Because I'm looking at
Losing them.
Titans. Damn it.
Losing. All right. So I'm gonna do a little bit of going over real quick. But we'll get Gabe's thoughts. I'm gonna go over to the other team I mentioned, which is the Chargers, which I think they made moves that really need to be done. So the Chargers went in there and signed a whole lot of players, and I think they know they needed to because of the division that they're in. The Denver looks like they're going to be a formidable opponent. The Raiders made big moves. AFC West is going to be super interesting. And but as for an overall free agent signing, the Chargers picked up Let's see if we could find it here. Made big moves. Here we go. They re-signed Mike Williams, which that was the guy I was actually looking at for the Jags. Re-signed Mike Williams. They signed Gerald Everett, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. They shored up the offensive line with Austin Johnson, Sebastian Joseph Day. So like some big pickups, and they got essentially nothing. They gave up nothing for Khalil Mack, which is huge. They only gave up a second round pick and a 6th rounder for Khalil Mack. I'll take that all day. Khalil Mack alongside Joey Bosa on the other side. That defense for Chargers is going to be looking really good. And then just bringing in Gerald Everett and then re-signing Mike Williams is just huge. The Chargers are going to be a big player. They look like the most complete team on the AFC West, but I couldn't even tell you who's going to win that division. It looks so good. And that's why I think the Chiefs probably aren't going to make it that deep, because I think if you look pound for pound, the other 3 teams just look better than the Chargers. But then, the Chiefs. But it seems like the Chiefs always find a way to win, so I guess we'll see. But Gabe, you back with us?
I hopefully am. I don't know. I feel like my bars, I can't trust them.
There we go.
Man. All right. Yeah. I like the Chargers acquisition. I feel like we made a couple good trades. Khalil Mack was pretty good.
Did you want to go over the Jags real quick while I?
Yeah, the guy I want to see is Ingram, because I did like Ingram with the Giants. I felt like he was a dual. He was one of these dual guys. You can put him at tight end. You can put him at receiver. And you know,
exactly.
I do want to see what he does with that contract. You guys, I'll watch a couple games. I'll see. I'm gonna roll out the ball and see what happens. As far as acquisitions, I feel like there are some upgrades. Let's see how that defense does. You know what I mean? As far as, like I said, I'm more interested. As far as your division, as far as the Jaguars division, I feel like the Titans also made some upgrades. Matt Ryan moved to the Colts, right? He's with the Colts now.
Yep.
So there's some interest.
Good for him.
There's also some interesting transactions in that division that I would like to see play out. But like I said, I'm a more of a.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I'm not worried about it though. Like, the Titans just don't scare me. Like, yeah, they made some acquisitions, but they just don't scare me. At the end of the day, you have Ryan Tannehill. They're just not a scary team to me. The Colts, if Matt Ryan can get the ball rolling with the Colts worry me probably the most. The Colts, with an actual decent game manager quarterback who can actually play, they worry me. They still lack weapons. For some reason, they just can't seem to bring up more guys. They're going to roll out old ass T.Y. Hill, and he's not the same guy. Michael Pittman kind of came on at the end of the year. So they might draft somebody. Like I said, the wide receiver draft is super, super deep. But yeah, you also got to think too. I don't know if you saw the reports coming out with Urban Meyer stuff, but like, dude didn't even know who Aaron Donald was. You're starting to see more things come out. Like, man, it was a shit show with Urban Meyer, and I think the biggest acquisition is Doug Peterson. Like, we're going to talk about all these free agents, which are great, but having somebody with that kind of offensive mind and knowing how to run a team, you're going to have players that played bad last year improve this year, just due to the circumstances of the coaching staff. So I think I think Trevor Lawrence is going to make huge strides. I'm really excited to see Trevor Lawrence make huge strides. I'm really curious to see ETN. He had a whole year off due to his Liz Frank injury. So I'm really curious to see how that pans out between him and James Robinson. But I'm not going to say we win the division, but I don't think we're going to get beat up for sure like we did these past 2 years. I think we can hold our own. It's not a super scary division. I think your biggest competitor, in my opinion, I think will be the Colts. But I'm not saying, but the Jags should be a much improved team. They should, if I had to guess, 6-7 wins. That's my guess, especially with the offensive system and schemes that with the new coaching staff's bringing in a lot more veteran coaching staff. But
we shall see.
Let's finish off with the Chargers. Yeah.
The Chargers acquisition. Like I said, I do like Khalil Mack, that pickup. And I do like re-signing Mike Williams. I feel like Mike Williams is a huge target, big guy. That guy's tall as hell, always in the end zone.
Yeah, not a fast guy, but a good
yeah.
jump ball guy.
Yeah, I was about to say almost Calvin Johnson like, but Calvin Johnson's way faster.
Calvin
But a
Johnson's a
big
freak,
target.
dude.
He's a tight end on steroids, essentially. So Chargers. I do like their. I still do like them as a team. I do like Herbert. I feel like he's young enough and he's proven himself enough in that division that he's going to be the most dominant force to pick. But also, I mean, we want to talk about the Raiders as well because the Raiders are in that division, and they picked up Devontae Adams, was probably their biggest trade that they got over the break. They also signed Chandler Jones, which is one of the strongest, well-respected players in the league. Still playing in the league, still dominating. I feel like the Raiders are also making tons of moves.
The Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders went all out, man. Oh man, that Chandler Jones and Max Crosby duo is gonna be insane. And the Chargers, man, they're a gritty team. They're a tough team. I mean, you saw after all the shit that happened last year with that team, they still made it to the playoffs and made it to up to the last drive against the Bengals. So, man, they had to replace the travesty that was Henry Ruggs, which is a shame because he was such a talented player. But now you're bringing in Devontae Adams. They gave up a whole lot, and Devontae Adams' contract is going to be insane. Right here, it's showing that it's going to be worth $141 million over 5 years. That is wild for a wide receiver. The average of $28.25 million a year. That's crazy. They re-signed Demarcus Robinson. Not re-signed. They brought in Demarcus Robinson. And they really beefed up that defense, adding 2 corners, linebacker, 2D tackles. Like I said, re-signed Max Crosby, brought in Chandler Jones, brought in 2 running backs. So it's looking good, man. Looking really good. And they got a couple picks from was it a trade for Marcus Mariota? Or did Marcus Mariota get cut? I think it was a trade.
I think it was a trade. Mariota's going to be
Yeah, so that's wild. Like everybody in that AFC West made moves, and I think the only ones that really didn't were the Chiefs, and they're all gearing up to take on Patrick Mahomes for the next however long he decides to play. It's going to be a really interesting division, really interesting because Denver got better, the Raiders got even better, and if they can get the Raiders have Josh McDaniel, so like. We'll see if he actually sticks around when the beginning of the season starts, and he doesn't back out like he did with the Colts. But it seems like you're going to get a very offensive, even though John Gruden was an offensive coach. Really curious to see Josh McDaniels get another shot at the NFL after going through everything that he kind of learned. But man, AFC West looking real tough.
Hey, quick note. Marcus Mariota was a free agent. He signed $5 million signing bonus with a $1.75 million base guarantee. So he should make $6.75 million this year. But he was a free agent. It wasn't a trade.
Yeah, but he's only a $1 million cap hit. All right, sweet.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Let's go to the next big quarterback move. Deshaun Watson to Cleveland. Cleveland, another big player. They signed Amari Cooper after getting cut from the Cowboys, and then Cleveland gave up a lot of picks to get Deshaun Watson, and it seems like all signs are pointing towards he is playing this year because the moment all that information came out about his trial or case, whatever, I'm not a lawyer, but all that stuff that came out about it, showing that he's going to play, phone started ringing for Houston. So Cleveland's looking like they're trying to win now, obviously. It seems like every team's just trying to win now, man. Very few teams are trying to like, you know what, we're just gonna stock up on picks, everything. Like I am in the ballpark. I'm in the camp where I think Deshaun Watson is a little overrated. I think he's a good player. I don't know if he's a top 5. Like, I feel like people are so certain that he's a top 5 guy, but I don't know. Like, as somebody who saw him twice a year in the AFC South, like maybe he just never he tended to not really play super well against the Jags, but like I just always felt like he's good. He's a really good. He's above average quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback, but like I just feel like he's a little overrated. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
On Deshaun Watson, well, I mean, I haven't seen him play football, so I didn't know where his skill level is. I'm
Yeah,
going to
who
assume
knows after a year off? Yeah, I mean too.
I'm going to assume that because he was still hanging around. He wasn't banned or anything. He was just sitting on the. Was he on the sideline?
He refused. Yeah, he refused to play. I think essentially.
No, I think they sat him down because they didn't know what the hell was going to go on. If they were going to he was going to be arrested. So
that he didn't. He refused to play too. I think it's a mix.
So yeah. So as far as his skill level, I've seen him play well. I've seen him be at the top of the league. Be a top, a guy that you want. But I haven't seen him in a year. As far as football, I guess we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he's the highest paid quarterback ever, the higher than more money than Patrick Mahomes? Or
Josh Allen's the most highest paid right now, but
okay.
Deshaun, he has a big contract. I forgot how it's like 250 over 3 years or something like that. I don't know. I don't know details on the guaranteed, but it's a pretty fat contract. Yeah.
Obviously, they're going all in on Deshaun Watson. It's kind of interesting too because Baker Mayfield somehow now that I think he asked for it was kind of weird. Baker Mayfield went on Twitter, he went on social media or something, did like a good goodbye when they heard all these Deshaun Watson rumors. He did a sad goodbye, thank you Cleveland, and then they sign him, and then he's like, oh, I want to request a trade, and then
as soon as
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like as soon as the reports came out about Cleveland going after Deshaun Watson, he was immediately like, "I want to trade." I don't even think they got the trade through yet.
It wasn't official.
He was like, "Yeah, I'm out." He's like, "I don't want to be here no more."
And then Cleveland was like, "No, we would not trade you." So I wonder how that's gonna work out. I eventually think he's gonna be traded because they're not gonna want a guy. Why would you want him there?
Why would you want to pay him that money? Yeah, to sit on the. I
guess it's an insurance policy because he knows the schemes, he knows the players, I guess, but it seems like he doesn't want to be there. Why would you want a guy who doesn't want to be there?
Well, see, not even that. It's like the amount of money you can save just trading him off to somewhere else, and then you can sign actual weapons or whatever to help improve the team. Why keep however much he's getting paid, 20-something million cap hit that he's getting on his rookie contract? Like you can get rid of that and you can sign a couple guys with that can help improve the team. So
I think usually guys, they get traded. The team ends up, whoever's trading them away usually ends up paying whatever. Sometimes, you get traded away and that team will still pay your contract. So essentially you're still in
it depends. I think it depends on
how
the
they
trade.
make the deals. Yeah, it depends on how they make the deal. But so as far as Deshaun Watson, the quarterback situation in Cleveland, I guess we'll see. I don't know how much football he has. But I think it's interesting from a fan aspect because I said it here before because when the rumors were going around with Miami, I was like, absolutely no way in hell. If the Miami trade for this fucking guy, I would never watch football again, which would have been, and it's kind of contradictory, right? Because Tyreek Hill also is problematic as well because Tyreek Hill has some, like child abuse accusations in his past. He had his kid taken away from like CPS or whatever. So there is my moral compromise that I'm making. Yeah. Browns.
They got Cooper. They got Cooper.
Who? Oh, Amari Cooper. Yeah.
Amari Cooper. Yeah.
Amari Cooper. I thought you said Hooper. I'm like, Hooper signed with he signed with the Titans.
No, yeah.
Okay. Cooper. Yeah. But isn't what you call it got traded away as well? Or no? They signed Cooper.
Landry got cut.
Landry got cut. Landry's gonna get signed. Somebody's gonna pick him up. If he got cut, somebody's gonna pick him up.
Somebody. I'm surprised he hasn't. I'm surprised he hasn't been picked up yet.
The guy is just too. He's too productive.
They also franchise tagged Njoku.
Njoku, guy's been there. He's from the UM. So yeah, I don't think it makes them competitive. I feel like I don't. Deshaun Watson, obviously, big name, big splash, but I think still they're still limited offensively. on the
All right,
roster.
so I have the whole deal right here. I just found it. I forgot to look. Deshaun Watson with the trade from the Browns. Browns are giving up a 2024 6th-round pick. All right, so what's it called? Houston is giving up Deshaun Watson and a 6th-round pick in 2024 in exchange for 3 first-round picks from 2022 to 2024, a 3rd-rounder in 2023, and 2 4th-rounders in 2022 and 2024. And Cleveland will give Watson his fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract. So it's fully guaranteed 230.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and that's a lot of fucking picks to give. But to be fair, Deshaun Watson is really young. So he will, if he plays like he has been, he will be there past 2024. So hopefully this is good for the Browns. You know, I kind of feel for the Browns because they've been shit for so long and they're finally starting to get a taste of winning. And I kind of know what that feels like. So I hope it kind of works out for them. But I don't know if it does. Like I said, I always thought Deshaun Watson was a tad bit overrated. I think he's a good player, but I always thought he was a tad overrated. But let's switch to another team in the AFC. Or what? Get your final thoughts, Gabe.
No, yeah. I was gonna say let's transition to, because there's tons of other transactions going on.
Yeah. So stay in the division. Pittsburgh signs MVP Mitch. Take Pittsburgh back to the promised land. They're going to do it all over again. Mike Tomlin and the boys and Mitch Trubisky spent a year under Brian Dable in Buffalo. Oh, same thing. And he's going to lead the Pittsburgh Steelers to the promised land. Don't you think?
I think that's hilarious. That's what I think. Pittsburgh, I feel like they were in the running. I feel like they were like in that running for possibly Russell Wilson. Yeah, Mitch Trubisky ain't it, man. Mitch Trubisky ain't it. Dwayne Haskins ain't it. That's not the answer, Sway. That's not the answer. Filler guy, sure, but I feel like the Steelers have lost Juju Smith-Schuster. You know what?
They still have Dante Johnson.
Deontay.
Deontay.
I feel like anything's better than Ben Roethlisberger. That guy, anything.
I was waiting for it.
I feel like they could have signed a.
He was a dead man walking.
It would have been better than Ben Roethlisberger. So, but yeah, as far as like, would I be excited to sign Mitch Trubisky? Hell no, I would not be excited. If I was a Steelers fan, hell no, I would not be excited.
The defense got better.
For
the
Dwayne
defense
Haskins, but he got defense score points.
They signed a lot of defensive player. Sadly, they signed Miles Jack. The Jags had to cut Miles Jack for whatever reason. I was kind of surprised by that, but they signed them. Levy Wallace, re-signing Arthur Mollett. They re-signed Witherspoon. And they added to the offensive line as well. Re-signed Ukora I can never say that dude's name. James Daniel. They signed James Daniel, and then they also signed Mason Cole. So I'm in the camp where I don't think they're done with the QB situation. I think they're in a position where if they don't feel like they got the guy they want, then I think they're okay with riding out Trubisky for a year and then trying again next year. But I think look for Pittsburgh to draft somebody this year, or maybe Baker. Who knows? Jimmy G. There's still some guys out there. So I think if they don't like those guys or can't come to a deal that they like with them, I think they're comfortable with Trubisky being there. But I don't think Trubisky's a long-term. Clearly not. He's a 2-year deal. So I would look for them to either draft or maybe not even be done free agency yet. But we'll see. I'm a little curious.
I feel like if you look at their names, you look at the names: Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins. This is like somebody in your fantasy league.
All-star lineup.
They don't play fantasy, and they're just picking names, whatever. Like this is like Nah, man, this is it. You know what? I'll take Baker Mayfield. I'll take a broken, busted up Baker Mayfield for the Steelers. I'll take a Jimmy G. Um, you know,
So this leads us
over that.
to the net. This kind of leads. This is a good transition point. So where do you see Baker going? Because I'm a little surprised nobody's gone after him, because there's a couple situations where I think they'd be better off having someone like Baker. I think I look at Seattle. You telling me you want to go in there with Drew Lock or Baker Mayfield? I'll take Baker. Baker Mayfield, he's a starter in the league. Somewhere, he's not amazing. He's not going to be a top 5 quarterback, but he's a starter in this league somewhere. I would take him over Drew Lock. You look at Carolina, I'll take Baker over Sam Darnold. I would take Baker over Trubisky, like you said. There's a couple places I would rather have Baker than
The only thing with him, only thing is with him is he plays through so many injuries, and he's one of these guys like he's gonna get hurt, and he's not gonna tell you about it. Like he's like too proud to whatever be vulnerable.
Baker has like moments of greatness. It's weird, dude. Like there's moments where he looks great, and then there's moments where he just looks bad.
And I think that they talked about him playing with that hurt shoulder, right? Because he got slammed. I think he separated his shoulder. I forget what play it was, but I know he got slammed by Arizona when they played Arizona because JJ Watt slammed him in the thing and like completely separated. It was already injured already, and then it fucking tore it. So he was playing the whole season on his non-throwing shoulder. He had that strap, his shoulder strap that he was playing with. So the thing is, the guy is always playing banged up. You know what I mean? This guy's like Carson Wentz. This guy got arthritic knees. This guy's like Batman year 7. This is Batman Dark Knight Rises. He has the fucking thing. He has jacks. He has things that are lifting his legs. So
bro, I don't know if Carson Wentz is going to survive his NFL career, dude. That guy's he's always putting himself in the worst possible situations. But yeah.
So when it comes to Baker Mayfield, I do like his, as he plays injured and also the inaccuracy issues. Baker Mayfield, the Cleveland Browns were notorious for they would put up 40 points in the first half, and then the second half they just disappear and lose whatever lead that they had going forward. So, would I rather have? I'd rather have Baker Mayfield than Drew Lock. That is. I'd
rather have him than Sam Darnold. Shit, I can't believe this guy Carolina's done.
I'm not big on Sam Darnold, but Sam he's not hurt. He's not playing hurt as much as Baker Mayfield is. And Baker Mayfield's got years now.
Gabe, Sam Darnold is terrible. That
I'm not saying. I'll take he's got to get the football.
I'll take Big Ben over Sam Darnold. I'll take Big Ben right now over Sam Darnold.
I'll take a ham sandwich. Where's the goddamn? Who's drafting the ham sandwich? Let's talk about that in the draft.
But unless they got somebody have their eyes on somebody on the draft, that's the only thing I can think of.
And then we can go to. I was gonna say apparently this draft is not that deep.
It's not. It's bad.
Especially if you want a quarterback, you need a quarterback. So, as far as what is Baker Mayfield worth, I think he is, as far as it now is presently constituted, I think he can start from one of those lesser teams, one of those teams that have garbage quarterbacks. Like I said, he could probably start for the Steelers if he wanted to.
I think he deserves a starting role. I think.
Yeah, maybe you know what? Maybe sometime on the bench too. Maybe the guy needs the offseason to heal. Maybe he needs some bench time.
Here's an interesting one.
I don't know.
Would you take Baker over Daniel Jones?
See, because Daniel Jones, you're giving me youth. And Daniel Jones, while I was anti-Daniel Jones, I thought it was hilarious when he got drafted. Daniel Jones has flashes of oh, okay, he's decent.
So does Baker, though. So does Baker.
But you see, now I have to factor in youth. Like Daniel Jones is young.
I mean, weren't they drafted the same year?
No. Baker Mayfield was not drafted.
No, he was drafted the year after. Baker Mayfield's still on his rookie contract. And I think that was the big thing is Cleveland didn't want to pay him a shit ton of money that what the market was asking for. I think Daniel Jones, I think, was a year after Baker.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield was already in the league. So your question, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones. I'll take Daniel Jones just because of youth, not because the spectacular skill set. And I think they only had one. The Browns only had one winning playoff season that 1 year. When they all three, they'd have one positive non-losing season.
To be fair, that first year when they got everybody, they had Freddie Kitchens, and that guy was that coach was a buffoon. That guy was.
So to get back to the main thing we were talking about, Baker Mayfield. What is Baker Mayfield's value in the league? I still think he can play and start in this league. And like I said, on one of these lesser teams that, if he was coming to the Dolphins, no way in hell I'd be excited. No
Baker Tua.
No, I mean, he's like, there's only 32 teams, 32 teams. He's probably in the bottom rung starter of those 32 teams. I mean, he's going to be a starter on one of the super lesser
But then
teams.
again, it could be one of those situations where he leaves and maybe just having a new situation and a new like environment helps. What about
Maybe
over Jameis in New Orleans? New Orleans, that's another team too that we didn't talk about. I forgot to mention. Do you really trust Jameis to kind of to take over the reins there? I think they're also looking for like maybe drafting somebody, starting over, like in a sense. Maybe a Baker. I think I would take Baker over Jameis.
With Sean Payton not coaching this year. Over Jameis. I don't know, man. Does he fit in the scheme? Do you see?
I don't know with the new coach.
For the Saints?
Who's the coach there again?
It has to be one of these intern coaches. I don't know. Let me look that up. I'll give a research. But I think Baker Mayfield does still have value in this league. I'll look it up later. He still does have value, but is he a top tier starter? Is he a top 15? No. Is he a top 20? No. Is he top 30? Probably not. We're in that 30, 32 range.
I think you're making him out worse than he actually is.
He's hurt, man. He's hurt all the goddamn time.
That's true. And he misses routes. He misses wide open receivers a lot. But he has the arm strength. He has the talent. That's his problem. He has the talent. He just can't get it done. But yeah, man, this draft sucks because like Kyle Trask would be a first rounder this year. Kyle Trask would have been a first rounder this year. But yeah, I mean, let's transition the same question over to Jimmy. Where's Jimmy G going? Is he? All signs point to that he's staying there, and they're running it back with Jimmy G. Maybe Lance has been showing things in practice that he just doesn't look like he's ready. Because there was like when the beginning of the offseason, it all sounded like you're seeing all these rumors about Jimmy G going. He's going to other places, but now we're starting to see these pieces fall, and it kind of seems like they're running it back with him. Which, I mean, they made it to the NFC Championship with him. And when he's been healthy, they have been winning games with him. Jimmy G is just like, he's not consistent. He's not a gunslinger. But when he's healthy and he's playing, the 49ers play well. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl with him. And then he was out for injury last year. And then he's healthy again. And now they made it to the NFC Championship. I think 49ers are still in a win mode now. I think they're just holding Trey Lance on the back burner because he did come from a situation where it was a really small school and he only started like 17 games. So I think they're just holding on to Jimmy G. Jimmy G might finish his contract there.
I feel like it's kind of one of these things like do you go with something new or the devil right? It's like I feel like I've seen Jimmy G maxed. I've seen Jimmy G, see him in the Super Bowl, see how boring that was. So it's like they missed out on all these big signings that they probably could have got. So it's like go with the W or go with the young thing. I honestly think Trey Lance at some point y'all traded, the GM traded or picked up Trey Lance. At some point you got to give the kid a try, right? You got to roll him out and see, put him in the pressure situation. I'm not saying like he's the answer. He's the next Peyton Manning, the next whatever, Tom Brady. But I'm saying y'all invested in him, so play him, put him in. Like I know what Jimmy G does. Jimmy G's like a sure thing. Jimmy G right now in my mind is kind of like this. He's kind of like Fitzpatrick, kind of like what he's got. Yeah, he's right there. He's just sitting back there. You know what he does. You know what that is.
You know what it kind of feels like though. At the same time, it kind of feels the same thing as San Francisco. Maybe this is what they're worried about, is that they were so quick to move on from Alex Smith and start playing Colin Kaepernick. But maybe Alex Smith would have won you that Super Bowl. Alex Smith had no right losing his position. Alex Smith played really well. And then you saw when he went to Kansas City, he played in an MVP form before that year before he got traded over to Washington. And even in Washington, he played well. So maybe they're just nervous that, like, we tried the Kaepernick thing. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there. Like,
Oh, you think they have
but
regret from?
I was on. Obviously, it's a whole different front off, all new people, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't think it has it. But like, man, like, obviously the Colin Kaepernick thing didn't work out. Besides the whole issue with him not being picked up, he was not good towards the end of his career. I mean, they went like 0-8 and stuff with him. Like,
I mean, he was exciting, man. He made the RPO look good.
Yeah, but then as soon as Alex Smith left and he became the guy, you started to see. Obviously, there was a lot of. You had the Trent Baalke was over there. You had a lot of Jim Harbaugh thing fell off. So there's a lot of off the field things that kind of happen, not off the field, but like front office things and coaching staffs and stuff that happened. But man, it makes you wonder if they would have kept with Alex Smith, like could they won that? Because Alex Smith did not deserve to lose his position there.
No.
At least I thought at that moment. Obviously, you want to go with the flashy guy at the time, but like,
well, to me, I guess, yeah. We're talking about 49ers or whatever. I feel like you gotta go with the guy with the high hand, and like I said, you gotta go with the guy with the high hand, right? Let's bring it back to Jimmy G and Trey Lance, I guess. Like I said, I've seen all of Jimmy G. I've seen him maxed out. Do you want to run that back again? Because the only thing that's changed is a different year. It's 1 year later. More Jimmy G.
They got so close, man. I mean, they got so close. Both times that he was healthy, they've been extremely close. But I don't know. It seems like he's saying that. Trey Lance must not look good. That's my thought. And it kind of seems the exact same thing in Green Bay. Maybe Jordan Love is not like the fact that how long was Aaron Rodgers' deal for? That man Jordan Love is going to be on the bench for a while. Just like, I mean, granted, that's what Green Bay does. That's what they did with Rodgers. But like Jordan Love's going to be on the bench for a while. And maybe he is just not showing that. Because if they were really confident in Jordan Love and Jordan Love was absolutely balling, he was like, they would have re-signed Rodgers.
But here's the thing. I mean, Rodgers, back-to-back MVPs, right? He had back-to-back MVPs. How can you compete with that? Like, I mean, this is the same situation that Aaron was in.
But then they did him dirty. Then they trade Adams. Now he has literally nobody to throw to.
Yeah,
I don't understand I don't understand the rationale. Obviously, yeah, okay, Green Bay got a haul, but I don't understand the rationale of why they did that. You brought back your quarterback because you want to win now. Aaron Rodgers on the back nine of his career. And he knows it. They know it. You drafted his replacement. Why would you go and then trade his number one target? It makes no sense to me. Now he has nobody to throw to unless they bring in some rookies, but then you're leaving him with rookies. It made that. And I bet I can imagine, and you got old ass Randall Cobb. I can imagine Aaron Rodgers being like, what the fuck? Like, I literally agreed to stay with you guys and sign, and then you literally get rid of my main target.
Aaron Rodgers, LeBron James, man. This is exactly what he wanted. He wanted money. You got the money. It sucks they had to trade him away. I think that he was a good target, but this is what you wanted. You could have gone anywhere. He could have got paid anywhere else. You know what I mean? He could have got.
I think it was a mix of both. I think if Rodgers was going in there thinking that Devontae Adams is getting traded, I can't imagine him re-signing. I just can't imagine it. I feel like he would have much rather went to Denver, where at least you have some weapons there. Like, there's literally, who is he going to throw? Green Bay is not going to go make it to the NFC Championship. I don't even know if they make it to divisional round. He has nobody, man, except Aaron Jones. That's all he has. And what, Lazard? Like, you have no true number one guy. And I don't know why somebody at his state in his career would want to go to a situation like that when you could have gone, honestly, the pick of his litter. He could have went to Indy. He could have went to Denver. He could have went Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Miami. He could have went so many other places where they actually like gave him help. And I don't know. We haven't heard anything about him being pissed off, so he's probably not coming out and saying it. But like, I would imagine he would be.
No, man, he got paid. Man, he's eating.
I guess so. I just feel like at that stage of the career, like, are you there for the money? He's made a shit ton of money. You want money? You trying to win again? He's got one Super Bowl.
This is the bet that he made. He wanted. I mean, like I said, he like you said, he could have had a choice of wherever he wanted to go because he had the leverage. He's like, oh, I'm not sure. This all started like a year and a half ago. I'm not showing up to camp. Whatever. He feels disrespected. Get Randall Cobb, who still in the league somehow, but you got Randall Cobb. You got everything. They're giving you everything you wanted, and this is the university you constructed. This guy is freaking.
We probably thought Devontae Adams was staying. He's
freaking Aaron Rodgers is king the conqueror right now. This is a script that he wrote. He's like, yes, I want this. I want them to trade Devontae away. This is everything I wanted.
There's no way he said that. I just don't. I think what might have happened is that, like, obviously, like, Las Vegas was just gave him a deal they just couldn't refuse, and they're just like, you know what? Rodgers is gonna be pissed off, but we can't pass this up.
So, yeah,
Aaron Rodgers getting traded next year. I guarantee it. He's getting traded next year.
All right. Speaking of MVP, probably Hall of Famers, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's back.
He's back.
Now he's back. This guy put cryptic tweets. Wasn't what was he putting? What was it, like 2 weeks? It was right after the loss, right? It was like a week after the loss.
He said he was retired, and then
it was actually the day. It was the day. It was the day that Aaron Rodgers signed his big ass contract. He's like, whatever. It wasn't officially signed, but it was like whatever, $230 million, whatever. Aaron Rodgers announced it like in the morning, and then in the afternoon, Tom Brady was like, "I'm coming back" or whatever. He was off for 2 weeks.
Well, you hear. I don't know how true this is, but like he was at the Manchester United game. And supposedly, Cristiano Ronaldo convinced him to come out of retirement. Supposedly, because apparently they're friends, and he was at the game. And then after that
picture that they took? That picture that they took together. I saw that on Twitter. They took a picture or something.
I don't know.
But Tom Brady announced he's coming back. It's only been 2 weeks. He's like, oh man, I need to be a father now. He went 2 weeks being a dad, and he's like, fuck.
And then he got there, and he's like, fuck them kids.
I need 300-pound men rushing at me, doing 4 5s, running at me and trying to kick my head off.
He said,
I like that more than being a father.
Fuck them noise ass kids. He's like, these motherfuckers are annoying. I'm coming back.
So I think it still instantly makes them competitive. Like this is Tom Brady.
It's their division. It's their division. Like I think he saw Sean Payton retire. Matt Ryan's out. Carolina has no idea what they're doing. It's an easy playoff run. Russell Wilson's out of the division. Aaron Rodgers has no fucking weapon now. Like the only team he's got to worry about in the NFC is the Rams.
Yeah. Tom Brady wins again. He still wins. He wins the offseason. He retires. Everybody celebrates.
He wins again.
They're like, oh, we love you. Year ago. Oh, you're back. Oh, we love you. Year ago. Tom Brady. I hate this guy. Get out of my life, Tom Brady. Please get out of my life. I'm tired of you.
If he was in it, say hypothetically the Bucs are in the AFC, I don't think he'd come back. The AFC stacked, and I think he saw the pieces in the NFC slowly start to fall and like disappear. And he's like, all right, we got a shot. What, you telling me we got to go against Jimmy G? Yeah, slight work. Aaron Rodgers, who the fuck he's going to throw to? He's like, my biggest competition is the Rams, and we could have beat their asses. Like, they had the chance to. I think he's looking at it, and he's like, they re-signed it. They still didn't lose anybody. They still got everybody. The squad is still there. He's like, fuck it, I'm running it back.
Yeah. So speaking of the Rams, can we just talk a little bit real quick? How do you feel about the Rams going forward? I mean, their biggest acquisitions, obviously, they've signed Matthew Stafford, 3-year, $129 million extension, and they signed your boy Allen Robinson, signed 3-year deal, $46 million. Allen Robinson,
yeah, man, Allen Robinson. That's going to be a great little tandem between him and Kupp. I think,
but they did lose Woods.
They did lose Woods.
So they needed to sign on.
They lost Woods. But he kind of had a little bit of that speed element. I'm not saying he was a burner, but he had a little bit of decent speed. Obviously, they're getting a little slower with Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is not a burner, but he's a great route runner and amazing on the one-on-one balls. And he's the number one wide receiver. So, and they both line up out wide, him and Cooper Kupp. So I think you're going to get a really good dynamic. I think, I think this is to replace Robert Woods. And it seems like Odell's not going back, which I don't think Odell's a huge difference maker. Odell's one of the most overhyped wide receivers we've probably ever seen in our generation. Like he had 2 Pro Bowls or some shit. Like he's not that great as much as people talk about him. So I think adding Allen Robinson was huge. They still keep everybody on that team. It seems like Aaron Donald is not retiring, even though people were saying that he was, or he was thinking about it or something like that. But it looks like the Rams.
He said it right after the Super Bowl. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go be with my kids, whatever." He's like, "I just want to do this one thing." He kind of alluded like, "Oh, this might be it." I mean, we'll
nothing's
see.
Out yet, though.
Tom Brady came back, so fuck. You know what? It's 2020.
I feel like if he was going to, he would have done it already. I feel like it's getting kind of late now. So
he can still do it. I mean, it's preseason. We got plenty of weeks of preseason.
Yeah, I mean, true. But yeah, Rams, man, it looks like they're trying to run it back. It looks like they're going to run it back. They just got a little bit better. They did lose some pieces, but who did they add, actually? I don't think they really made any big changes.
No, not really. Still have Cam Akers. Van Jefferson is still pretty good for them. Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I mean, they just re-signed their 2 offensive linemen. They re-signed their 2 offensive linemen, and then they signed Allen Robinson and Matthew Stafford. So, they're running it back.
Speaking of running it back, can we transition to a team that I feel like has kind of been disappointing? Running it back, the Cincinnati Bengals. What the hell have they done? I don't think they've done much, man.
What are you talking about, man? They're gonna have 3 new starters on the offensive line. They completely revamped that offensive line, and they're probably going to draft someone. My guess, I think they're going to draft someone. That's pretty much all they did. They did lose their tight end. He went to the Jets, but let me double check what the Bengals did. All right, so they added Hayden Hurst. So here's their offensive lineman. So they signed Lionel Collins. They signed he was a offensive lineman. They signed Alex Kappa, a guard, and they signed Ted Karras, another offensive lineman. So they signed 3 offensive linemen, and my guess is they're going to draft somebody. So they made some moves on the offensive line. They re-signed Eli Apple. They re-signed Clark Harris. They re-signed Michael Thomas. They re-signed BJ Hill. They re-signed everybody. Their only new acquisitions are offensive linemen, and they re-signed they signed Hayden Hurst.
Everybody in the world could see that they need a fucking lineman because this guy's the most sacked, most pressured quarterback in the league. And he's already coming off a year. His year of his rookie year, he already came off a leg injury. And you actually see, this year he actually did pretty well. You know what I mean? Like I said, I feel like the Bengals. I said this before. I said this before. The Bengals overachieved. The fact that y'all got in the playoffs and went that far is amazing. The fact that you guys went to the Super Bowl, fantastic. You almost coming back at the half of that Super Bowl. Y'all were
if they had offensive line, they win that game. If they had an O-line, they win that game.
Sans 75-yard touchdown that should have been offensive pass interference. Y'all were actually like in the game. The game was like tied. Like, oh shit, they actually might turn this around. They get a touchdown on the turnback, then they get an interception. They convert that touchdown. I'm like, yo, they're actually competing. Like, they actually might win this game. Now, obviously, LA Rams too dominant, too overpowering because of their deficiency.
I don't want to I mean, I don't want to re-talk about the Super Bowl, but like, if they just had a line, if they just had a half decent line, they win that game because Jamar Chase was that final play where Burrow gets sacked or throws the ball away. Jamar Chase absolutely cooked Jalen Ramsey wide open. If he just had like a second of protection and be able to throw that ball, that's a touchdown. And Bengals possibly win that game. They take the lead at least. They don't just end right there, but they possibly win that game if they just had an ounce of protection to give them because Ramsey got cooked by fucking Jamar Chase at the end. If you look at like the game film from above. So I'm glad that they went in there and they addressed like their one need. Because honestly, like the weapons are great. Your running game looks good. The defense looks solid. You got a pretty solid defense. It sucks you lose your tight end, but it's not the end of the world. A lot of teams don't have good tight ends. So it's not like a huge game changer. You just needed the offensive line to get beefed up, and 3 out of the 5, that's pretty good. And you're probably going to draft some dudes. So even if you switch out 4 of the 5, it's better than what you had. So good for them. They're my favorites in the AFC North, honestly. Like, I don't, not with Trubisky. The Rams, I mean, the Ravens didn't really seem like they got any better or worse. We'll see what Cleveland is with Deshaun Watson, but Bengals right now looking like the best team for sure. And they're still a young team, so they're just going to get better. Like, they're just going to get more experience and everything. But I'm glad they beefed it up, and that was much, 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 much needed. But that's pretty much it. They did.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. Like I said, I like they're a young team. I like them. I like them running it back. I think they're exciting. They're fun to watch. I don't care what people say. Oh, this is boring. It was exciting for me. It was exciting, especially that coming up after that half. I think they're a fun little team. We shall see. Obviously that was the
AFC
big glaring thing that they had was O-line, but yeah, AFC. I like their chances going forward in the future. It should be a fun team to watch for the next 5 years. I think that pretty much wraps it up.
I was going to say let's what's up? We got one more. And it's another AFC move. Matt Ryan. We briefly mentioned it, but I think we should Matt Ryan to Indy. How do you feel? I did not see this coming.
Because you didn't.
I didn't see it coming. I figured Indy was going to be obviously when they traded Wentz. That was a sign that because Indy's a win team now. They're a win now team. They got a good base. They got a good defense. Jonathan Taylor's a monster. Offensive line is good. They still need some weapons outside of Pittman. But when Carson Wentz was playing good, that team was good. There was a stretch where they won like 6 in a row or something like that. And the problem with Carson Wentz is his inconsistency, and he was injury prone, and he was reckless with the ball. Now you're bringing in the complete opposite with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is the ultimate game manager. I would even say he's probably better than a game manager, at least when he was at his prime, when they went on that Super Bowl run. I think it's a huge pickup. I think they're going to we saw they went 11-5 with Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers that was his final year. He was getting old, but he kept the ball intact. He didn't turn it over. He played decent football, and they went 11-5. If they had Phillip Rivers last year, they make the playoffs. And I think you're kind of getting that same kind of guy that they had with Phillip Rivers. You're bringing in Matt Ryan. I just didn't see it coming because there was no word of anything in Matt Ryan. I figured Matt Ryan was probably going to leave eventually because, like, how long are you going to keep Matt Ryan around when Atlanta's clearly in a rebuild mode? And you have this guy who cost a lot of money and is getting older. So, and then when I saw it, I'm like, oh shit. Like, he's one of those, Matt Ryan has always been one of those guys you kind of forget about because Atlanta's just not like widely talked about. But man, this is big for Indianapolis. I think they're going to get more stability than what they had with Carson Wentz. And I don't think they really gave up much either. I believe they only gave up a third rounder. So yeah, they traded him for a third rounder, and they're paying for his salary, which is a lot. I think he's owed like $28 million or something like that. But yeah, I think it was good. They re-signed a lot of guys, and then they traded for Yannick Ngakoue. But yeah, I think they still need weapons though, man. Unless they address it in the draft, they still really need weapons.
I was gonna say offensively, there's people. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of Colts games, so I think it's a good upgrade, right? Because they've been waiting around.
I think it's definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, they haven't had anything interesting happen since freaking this guy left and decided he was going to retire.
Oh my God, could you imagine the Colts if they still had Andrew Luck? That was one of the most fumbled things that the Colts ever did, is they broke Andrew Luck. And that's what I hope that it's not what happens to Trevor Lawrence, but they literally broke Andrew Luck to the point where he just like, I'm done. It's like, what a waste of talent that they had with Andrew Luck. He made that team punch way above their weight class.
So I mean, we'll see. Like I said, I still like the Titans in that division. I mean,
You got
I don't
Jonathan
know.
Taylor though. If you just hand it off to that boy, he's
Just him. That's it. It's just that's the game plan. Just one guy.
like I said, Pittman was decent. Like Pittman was good. We'll see in the draft. Obviously, things happen. Rookies shine, and come out of nowhere. You know, like Justin Jefferson. Who would have thought going into that draft, Justin Jefferson would be as dominant as he was for the Vikings? So maybe they find that. Who knows? But you do have Jonathan Taylor, who can absolutely run the ball, and in a division that's not super tough. So
you heard it here first. Julian is predicting a Jag Super Bowl this year.
Once again,
2022 Jag Super Bowl.
High on hopium.
Look at where is it at this year? Where is it at? Is it in like Arizona? Where is the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl? That is a interesting question. I do not know.
Let's go. Let's get.
Watch it be like New Orleans. My guess.
Probably.
No,
these indoor stadiums. Probably Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta because they just put that new stadium, didn't they?
Where's State Farm? What is State Farm? Oh, Arizona. Yep.
Arizona. There you go. Arizona in February. Probably chilly. I don't know how the desert is. We're going there. Jags will be there. It'll be Jags, Texans. I don't know.
Jags, Falcons. Mariota's going to take him to the promised land. Jameis.
But that pretty much wraps it up. All the NFL news this week. Of course, we're going to keep up sports more going on. Next week, hopefully we'll have JoJo on. We'll talk more baseball. We'll talk NBA. Maybe UFC. I don't know what's going on in UFC. March Madness is going on. But we appreciate y'all guys checking us out, listening to us. NBA heavy, NFL heavy. I'm sorry. Julian, tell them where can they find us? Where are we at?
We on anywhere you get podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, YouTube, the Instagram, Facebook, Walmart, Amazon. Actually, I think we actually are on Amazon. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I actually think we are on that. I don't know. Anywhere you listen to shit, we're on it, essentially.
Real Fan Podcast. We'll be back here. We appreciate y'all checking us out and downloading us. Thank y'all. We'll see you next week. Peace.